You wake in a swaying hammock to the sound of bare feet pounding the deck above. A voice screams the only two words that matter out here: "Sail ho!" You grab a cutlass, scramble into the sunlight, and there it is, a fat merchant ship. You are a pirate in the golden age of piracy, and this is how you eat. A life of freedom, plunder, and almost certainly an early grave. So hoist the colors. Let's live it. The year is around 1716, and the seas are swarming with pirates. For a few short decades, thousands of outlaws rule the trade routes of the world. Empires ship unimaginable wealth across the oceans: gold, silver, sugar, and spices. But those ships are slow, poorly defended, and packed with cargo worth a fortune. To a desperate sailor, they are floating treasure, begging to be robbed. A great war has just ended, and thousands of trained fighting sailors are suddenly out of work. Many were privateers, legal pirates, paid to raid enemy ships for their king. Now the war is over, their license is gone, but their skills and hunger remain. So they take the same skills and go into business for themselves. Let's be honest about why you're here. It wasn't for adventure. Before you were a pirate, you were an ordinary sailor, and your life was a nightmare. On a merchant or navy ship, your pay was low, late, or simply stolen by your captain. The food was rotten, the water was foul, and disease killed more men than any storm. Discipline was savage, a lash across the back for the smallest mistake. Some of you were forced aboard against your will, kidnapped by press gangs. Your captain was a tyrant, and there was no one to appeal to. His word was law. So when pirates attacked and offered you a choice, it was an easy one. Join us, they said, and take an equal share, or stay a slave to the sea. Many jumped at the chance. Piracy wasn't just crime, it was escape. And on a pirate ship, you'd get something almost unheard of in this age: a vote. Because the biggest myth about pirates is that they lived in chaos. In truth, a pirate ship was one of the most organized places in the world. Before you set sail, the whole crew agrees on a set of written rules, the Articles. Every man signs them or makes his mark, swearing an oath on a Bible or a crossed axe. These articles are a constitution written by outlaws decades before many nations had one. Every man gets an equal share of the plunder. The captain gets only a little more. Compare that to the Navy, where officers took almost everything and sailors got scraps. The articles even include something remarkable: insurance for injury. Lose an arm in battle, and the crew pays you a fixed sum from the common fund. Lose a leg, an eye, or a finger, and there's a set price for each, agreed in advance. There are rules against fighting aboard, against stealing from each other, against gambling debts. Break the code badly enough, and the punishment can be marooning or death. On land, you were nobody. Here, you are a citizen of a floating democracy. At the top sits the captain, but not the way you'd think. You elect him, and if he's a coward or a fool, you can vote him right back out. The captain has absolute power in only one moment: the heat of battle. The rest of the time, daily power belongs to another elected man, the quartermaster. He divides the loot, settles arguments, and speaks for the crew against the captain. It's a careful balance of power, designed so no single man can become a tyrant. Below them, every man has a job: gunner, carpenter, sailmaker, cook, surgeon. Skilled men like carpenters and surgeons are so valuable they're sometimes forced to join. You are a small, tight, dangerous community bound by a code and a common enemy. And your community includes people the rest of the world casts out. Escaped slaves, runaways, and outcasts of every nation find rough equality on deck. Your ship is your life, and for a pirate, one thing matters most: Speed. You must catch slow prey and outrun fast warships, so you favor small, nimble vessels. Sloops and schooners are the pirates' favorite, light, quick, and able to hide in shallow bays. Sometimes you capture a ship so good you keep it and bristle it with cannons. One infamous captain turned a captured slave ship into a floating fortress of 40 guns. To stay fast, you must scrape your hull clean of the weeds and worms that slow it, so you beach the ship on its side and scrub it, a filthy job called careening. It leaves you defenseless for days, so you do it in a hidden cove, far from the law. A well-kept ship is the difference between a rich raid and a hangman's noose. But most of a pirate's life is not battle. It is boredom, discomfort, and endless work. The ship is cramped, wet, and stinking, dozens of men packed into a tiny space. There is no privacy, no comfort, and rats share your bread. You sleep soaked by sea spray and rocked by the endless swell. You work in shifts around the clock, hauling ropes, trimming sails, manning the pumps. The food is grim, hard biscuit full of weevils and salted meat like leather. Fresh water rots in a barrel, so you drink watered-down rum instead. Oddly, pirates often ate better than honest sailors because they simply stole better food. But disease is the silent killer. Fevers, scurvy, and infections with no real cure. The ship's surgeon is often just the cook, with a saw and a steady hand. A small wound can turn deadly, and all you can do is pray and pour rum on it. To pass the endless hours, you gamble, sing, drink, and tell wild stories. This is your world, long gray days of waiting for one violent hour of profit. Then, at last, the cry comes again, a sail on the horizon. Every man leaps to his station. The boredom vanishes in an instant. You study the prey through a spyglass. How big, how armed, how fast. If it looks too strong, you let it go. A wise pirate picks easy fights. But if it's fat and weak, you give chase, cracking on every sail you have. You may fly a false flag, a friendly nation's colors, to lull them close. You creep nearer and nearer until you are almost within cannon shot, and then, at the last moment, you show them who you really are.
Down comes the false flag. Up goes the one that freezes the blood, the Jolly Roger. That black flag is not just decoration. It is a message and a threat. It says, surrender now and we may let you live. Skulls, skeletons, hourglasses, and bleeding hearts warn that your time is running out. But if the black flag doesn't scare them into surrender, a second flag goes up, a blood-red flag, which means one thing: no mercy, no quarter, no survivors. The whole point is to win without fighting at all, so fear is your favorite weapon, and reputation does most of your fighting for you. But when you do have to fight, you fight up close and brutal. Your main weapon is the cutlass, short, heavy, and deadly on a tight, crowded deck. A long sword is useless among ropes and rigging. Short and savage wins here. You carry several flintlock pistols at once because each fires only a single shot. There's no time to reload in a boarding, so you fire, drop, and draw the next. You hurl crude grenades, bottles of powder and shot with a burning fuse, and above all, you use terror. You want the enemy paralyzed before you even land. One legendary captain wove slow-burning fuses into his beard and lit them before battle. Wreathed in smoke with wild eyes, he looked like a monster clawed loose from a nightmare. He rarely had to fight. Most crews took one look and surrendered on the spot. That was the real secret. The scariest pirate spills the least blood. But when they don't surrender, you close the final gap and board. Grappling hooks bite into the enemy rail and lash the two ships together. You swing and leap across the gap, screaming to shatter their nerve. The fighting is a chaos of steel, smoke, and shouting on a pitching deck. Your goal is never to sink the ship. A sunken ship carries its treasure to the seabed. You want it captured, its crew subdued, and its hold thrown wide open. The moment the enemy captain surrenders his ship, the real work begins. You strip her of everything useful and everything valuable, and here you learn the truth about pirate treasure, because it is almost never a hold full of gold and jewels. Real pirate treasure is cargo, cloth, sugar, tobacco, spices, and dyes. You steal food, rum, spare sails, rope, tools, and medicine, the boring stuff of survival. When you do find coins, it's usually silver, not glittering pirate gold. The famous pieces of 8 are silver coins, cut into pieces to make change. Whatever you take is carried back, counted out, and shared by the articles. And then almost immediately, most of it is spent. Because a pirate's motto is simple: a merry life and a short one. Which brings us to the greatest pirate legend of all: buried treasure. The chest of gold, the secret island, the map marked with a big red X. It's a wonderful story. It is also almost entirely a myth. Pirates didn't bury treasure. They spent it fast on rum, gambling, and wild nights. Why bury gold on an island when you might be hanged before you ever return? One captain did bury some loot once, hoping to bargain for his life at trial. It didn't save him. He was hanged anyway, but the legend was born. The maps and the X mostly came from a novel long after the real pirates were gone. The pirate you imagine is mostly a story. The real one was stranger and far more human. So where does all that stolen money go? To a place that shouldn't exist. On a Caribbean island, the pirates build a lawless haven of their own. They call it a republic of pirates, ruled by no king and no law but their own. Here, in port, a pirate spends his fortune as fast as he can earn it. Taverns overflow with rum, music, gambling, and brawls that last till dawn. For a few short years, thousands of outlaws live completely free, beholden to no empire. It is chaotic, filthy, dangerous, and, to a former slave of the sea, it is paradise. But paradise built on plunder cannot last forever. And the empires you've been robbing are sending the full weight of the law to end you. And not every pirate on that deck is a man. In an age when women had almost no freedom, a few disguise themselves and go to sea. 2 of the most feared pirates of the age are women, fighting as fiercely as any man. The story goes that when their crew was captured, the women fought on while the men hid. They dodged the noose by revealing they are pregnant, cheating the hangman for a while. In a brutal man's world, they seized a freedom almost no woman of their time could dream of. The golden age is ending, and it ends fast. First, the empires try mercy. They offer a royal pardon to any pirate who quits. Take the king's pardon, they say, and all your crimes are forgiven. Some take it, tired and ready to grow old. Others tear it up and sail on. Then a determined governor arrives and takes back the pirate haven for the crown. And for those who refuse to quit, the empire send hunters. Fast warships scour the seas with orders to bring pirates in, dead or alive. One by one, the great pirate captains are hunted down and killed or captured. The most feared pirate of all is cornered and killed in a savage boarding fight. His head is hung from a warship's bow as a warning to every pirate alive. Captured pirates are shipped back to port in chains to stand trial. The trials are quick, and the verdict is almost always the same. You are marched to the harbor gallows to be hanged where the sea can watch. In one mass trial, dozens of a single crew are condemned together. The bodies of famous pirates are tarred and hung in iron cages at the harbor mouth. The message is clear: piracy ends at the end of a rope. Within a few short years, the golden age of piracy is crushed and gone. So this was your life as a pirate. Not the fantasy, but the truth. A life that was short, hard, wet, and usually ended violently. Most pirates sailed for a year or two before the sea or the noose took them. But for that brief moment, you tasted something rare: total freedom. You answered to no king, no master, and no law but the one you helped write. You lived free, died young, and became a legend that outlived every empire that hunted you.
You lived as a pirate, an outlaw, a rebel, and for one bright moment, a free man. The next time you see the skull and crossbones, remember what it really meant. Not a costume, but a desperate bid for freedom in a brutal, unfair world. If you enjoyed sailing this life with me, subscribe for more Lost Worlds, and tell me in the comments, would you have signed the articles or taken the pardon?